Good day everyone, I'm Dave Alivio, and for today's video, I will report my assigned topic in Chapter 11, which is all about the inaugural address of President Jose P. Laurel, a look for the Second Philippine Republic. Alright, so Chapter 11, the inaugural address of Philippine President Jose P. Laurel, a look at the Second Philippine Republic. So, this is Jose P. Laurel, and we have here the World War II and Japanese occupation. So during this time, the Philippines is under the Japanese rule. So these are the things that happened during those times. So in 1941, the Pacific War. So we have here the global conflict of World War II extended to the Pacific, beginning the Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. So this ignited a war between Japan and allied powers, which is UK, US, and etc. So the war in the Pacific began with Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on Hawaii on December 7, 1941. So this event triggered the United States entry into the World War II. In 1942, the fall of the Philippines. So we have here the Japanese swiftly invaded the Philippines, overwhelming United States and Filipino forces. The Battle of Bataan and the subsequent Bataan Death March resulted in significant loss of life and suffering. So Japan swiftly invaded the Philippines, aiming to secure vital resources and strategic positions in Southeast Asia. So the Philippines, then a US colony, was ill prepared for the invasions. The Battle of Bataan, a desperate defense by American and Filipino forces, ended in Japanese victory. So during this time, the Japan won the battle in Bataan and the Philippines was fall. So the subsequent Bataan Death March, a forced march of captured soldiers, resulted in immense suffering and loss of life. Then next we have Japanese occupation in 1942 to 1945. So the Japanese military governed by the Philippines harshly, imposing strict controls, rationing food, suppressing dissent, and forcing Filipino into labor. So during this time, the Philippines remained under Japanese occupation for 3 years. The Japanese military imposed harsh rule characterized by, first we have here strict controls, food rationing, and forced labor. So in strict controls, we have Japanese implemented strict regulations on daily life, including curfews, travel restrictions, and censorships. And in food rationing, we have food shortages were widespread, leading to rationing or malnutrition. Then suppressions of dissent. We have the Japanese brutally suppressed any oppositions or resistance, often through torture and executions. Then lastly, we have forced labor. So Filipinos were forced to work on infrastructure projects, often in dangerous and inhuman conditions. So in next slides, we have the Kalibapi and the puppet government. So the Kalibapi, or one party, no choice. So we have here formation of Kalibapi, December 1942. So the Japanese established the Kalibapi, or also known as Kapisanan ng Paglilingkod sa Bagong Pilipinas, as the sole legal political party. It was designed to appear as a Filipino organization but served Japanese interest. So during this time, in December 1942, the Japanese established the Kalibapi, so as a puppet political party. So it was designed to appear as a Filipino organization but served as Japanese interest. So the Kalibapi aimed to create a facade of Philippine self-governance, promoting collaboration with the Japanese occupiers. So next is the purpose of Kalibapi. So the purpose of Kalibapi is to promote collaboration again with the Japanese occupiers and to create a facade of Philippine self-governance. So that's it. Then next is we have elimination of democracy. Elimination of democracy. So the single party system eliminated any meaningful political choice for Filipinos. So all opposition was suppressed. So next is Jose P. Laurel, a complex figure. So President Jose P. Laurel, a leader in difficult times. So a pre-war career. So a respected lawyer and jurist, Laurel held various prominent positions in the pre-war Philippine government, establishing a reputation for legal expertise and political acumen. And so next is we have here presidency in 1943 to 1945. So elected president of the Second Philippine Republic by the Japanese-controlled National Assembly. So this is a highly debated aspect of his legacy. Next is collaboration versus pragmatism. So historians debate whether Laurel collaborated with the Japanese out of self-interest or as a strategic move to lessen the suffering of Filipinos under occupation. So during this time, President Jose P. Laurel is a respected lawyer and jurist. He was elected president of the Second Philippine Republic by the Japanese controlled National Assembly in 1943. So this decision has been highly debated, with some historians arguing that Laurel collaborated with the Japanese out of self-interest or to minimize harm to Filipinos, while others believed that he genuinely believed in the Japanese promise of independence. So next is we have here the key themes from Laurel's inaugural address. So Laurel's vision, so peace, prosperity, and unity, so under Japanese control gihapon. So we have here peace and order. So Laurel stressed that the need for stability and order to facilitate economic recovery and social progress. However, this peace existed under the threat of Japanese military power. Next is we have economic development. So Laurel promoted economic self-sufficiency and industrialization, aligning the Japanese economic policies within the Greater Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. And next is we have moral uplift and unity. So he emphasized traditional Filipino values and national unity to foster social cohesion and obedience to the government, which is controlled by the Japanese. So the inaugural address by Laurel is that address is reflected by the difficult context of occupation. So during those times, he emphasized the need for peace and order, economic development, and national unity. But these goals were achieved under the threat of Japanese military power. So his emphasis of traditional Filipino values and obedience to the government was aligned with the Japanese desire for control. So next, so also during those times, so Laurel also wanted an education reform wherein some Laurel's educational reforms focus on discipline and obedience, reflecting the Japanese emphasis on order and conformity. And of course, President Laurel also promote the Tagalog. So he promote Tagalog. So a positive aspect wherein promoting Tagalog aimed to foster a sense of national identity despite the occupation. So next is we have um, analyzing Laurel's speech, a critical perspective. So understanding the context, collaboration or survival. We have here ethical dilemmas, which means problems. The occupation forced Filipinos into difficult choices. So collaboration to survive or resistance at great risk. Next is interpreting Laurel's actions. So um, were his action driven by self-preservation, a desire to minimize harm, or genuine belief in the Japanese promise of independence? And last is limited or independence. The independence offered by the Japanese was facade. The Philippines remained under Japanese military control. So during this time, the occupation forced Filipinos into difficult choices, wherein Filipino were need to choose between the two: collaboration to survive or resistance at great risk. So the decision to collaborate or to resist was a complex one, often driven by individual circumstances, personal beliefs, and the desire to protect loved ones. And of course, the independence also this time was offered by the Japanese was a facade, meaning it was fake. So the Philippines remained, because the Philippines during this time is remained under the Japanese military control, and the Second Philippine Republic was essentially a puppet state. Next is here the conclusion. So the legacy of the Second Philippine Republic, we have here short-lived republic. The Second Philippine Republic existed only during the Japanese occupation. So meaning the Second Philippine Republic was only during those times in the Japanese occupation. And next is we have historical significance. So the the inaugural speech by president the inaugural address by the president Jose P. Laurel was represent a complex period in Philippine history, which highlights the challenges and the dilemmas faced by the Filipinos under the occupation. And lastly, the ongoing debate. So Laurel's legacy on the natures of the Second Philippine Republic was remained subject of ongoing historical debate and analysis. So it was still ongoing, and it was not proven until now. So I think that would be all my report, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you've learned a lot and of course enjoy watching this video. Bye bye.